So where went you see her on an empty street? Just a naily creeper, light on his feet, and find screaming with no time for down, with a pain and anger, can see the way out. In my rescue, I heard him say, gotta find me future, move out my way. I want it all, I want it all, I want it all, I want it now. I want it all, I want it all, I want it all, I want it now. Listen, all the people, come get around. You gotta give me the game plan. Just give me the sound. Just give me what I know it's mine. People, do you hear me? Just give me the sound. Imagine rescue if you want to throw. Hear us through the future for the dreams of you. I want it all, I want it all, I want it all, I want it now. I want it all, I want it all, I want it all, I want it now. I'm a man with a one-track mind, so much to do in one lifetime. Not a man for a compromise, and worse than wise, living a lie. So I'm giving it all, and I'm giving it all. Ain't much unless if you want to. Here's to the future for the dreams of you. So I want it all. Grazie mille.
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. Why am I here? Why is Milan here? Basically, earlier this year, some people were writing messages, texts, emails. You know, everything has been cancelled for the last year and a half to 2 years. People were missing seeing us, people, you know, at conventions, at any meetings here, there and everywhere. Just nothing was happening. And then maybe 2 months, 3 months ago, someone said, but look, all these cover bands are doing live tribute shows, they're doing live streaming, they're doing everything. Can't you do something like that? I mean, when I first heard it, I laughed. But Milan and I, we put our heads together and we've come up with something that hopefully you are really actually going to enjoy. I've recently discovered, shall we say, a whole load of photographs that I'd totally forgotten I'd ever had. So what we will do with this show, I'm going to show you, I don't know, 4 or 5 photos that have never actually been seen before. I'll still, of course, explain the situation, talk about Freddie, everything as normal. So that's the reason we're here. So that's enough of that. Let's get started. The photograph that you see here now, this is, I know, for the very first photograph, you're looking at Freddie's back and his backside. This was my view of Freddie's favourite home other than Garden Lodge. He was more at home on the stage than anywhere else. This was Freddie at work, but it was pure pleasure for him. He loved being out on the stage. He loved performing for people. He felt, I mean, Brian has said it in an interview, his job was to attract every pair of eyes whether it was the first tour I did, it was Tiffany's in Purley with 700 people, or 350,000 people in Rock in Rio. He felt that it was his job to have every pair of eyes on him. He went to sound check most of the time, but very rarely did he actually have to do a sound check because he trusted Ratty and Tripp implicitly. He knew that they knew exactly what he needed. So his time on stage during sound check, he would just sort of walk around to see what was different in the setup for this show, where he could climb, where he could go, what he could do. Because for those of you who traveled around following Queen shows, no two shows were ever alike. There was never a time when Freddie was standing like this 2 nights in a row. It just didn't happen. Freddie felt that it was up to him to entertain. He wrote a song about it, didn't he? Let Me Entertain You. His job was to keep everybody in the audience enthralled, with their eyes glued on the stage. This is what I used to see basically every night for the shows. I would be standing at the back of the stage waiting for Freddie or any of the band to come into the doll's house to have a drink, to do their hair, to change clothes, whatever. So I just felt it was actually a nice, because how many photographs have you seen like this? Because you always see Freddie in his glory from the front. But no, this was Freddie at home. He just loved being there. There was that one time I remember, I don't know exactly which show it was, but he was just so tired. We had to dress him in the dressing room. He just could not put things on himself. He did sort of do his makeup. When he was going to the stage, he had his one arm round my shoulder, one round, I think it was Terry's shoulder, getting to make sure he got to the stage okay. He sat in the doll's house, and everybody, right up until that minute, really had doubts whether he would actually make it to the stage or not. But as soon as the intro tape started, his head just shut up. Eyes opened the curtains, and out he went. That was Freddie. Again, all right, this is something that maybe looks familiar, but this, as I say, this photograph itself has never been seen. The way Freddie is positioned, Roger and everything there. Radio Gaga was an amazing video to be involved in. Freddie felt that the videos were easily as important as the albums. He loved being involved with them right from the very start. You know, this song, of course, is Roger's, so he had an idea of what he was wanting. But then it was down to Freddie and the director, whoever happened to be doing it. And Freddie would literally be involved from storyboarding all the way through, and he would often be there at the editing. You can see this one, how they cheated, you know, with the buildings, you know, as they were flying, and you saw these buildings. Basically, it was just cardboard cutouts on a conveyor belt, and someone with a wheel was just rolling it, and the buildings were just going round and round and round, and the band were in front of them. You have to remember this was the 80s. Those special effects that we have now just didn't exist. It was actually, it was fun to film. It was good. It was really good to be there, to be involved in it. And of course, the good thing was that they were able to use some of the footage from the film Metropolis, which of course you can see this was all based around for this film. I think you guys have done it, haven't you? You've got Radio Gaga for us, haven't you?
So let's do it.
This photograph you have all seen before. Again, I suppose it's Freddie at work, Freddie with the videos. He really enjoyed, as I said before, all aspects of being in the video. The reason that this photograph exists, I've actually got one of each member of the band, because there's one from the front, one from the back. So that because it was filmed over 2 different days, for continuity, they had to know exactly where the bandages were, how they were put on each of the band members, so that the second day they would look the same. So I took photographs back and front at the end of the first day's shooting, so that I then gave them to costumes, and the wardrobe were able to do it for them the next day. The fans were, all of the fans were very, very important for Freddie. He knew that without the fans, he would have had nothing. There would be no house, there would be no contents, there would be no traveling around the world. There would have been nothing without the fans. So he accepted that he was, to a degree, public property. I remember outside Garden Lodge, quite often there would be some people waiting for him. And he would always stop and have a photograph done, sign something and get into the car and go off. He did like the fact that the walls around Garden Lodge were too high unless people started climbing on them. People just could not look over, and he could have his private time in the garden. He could be in the garden, play with the cats, feed the fish, do what he pleased, and not have to worry. And he would wear just mismatching tracksuit, slippers. But as soon as he went outside the door, he became Freddie Mercury that everybody expected. The jeans, the trainers, t-shirt, leather jacket, sunglasses. He became public property. I remember one time in a restaurant, there was a group of us, went for lunch, actually around the corner from Garden Lodge. And we went in, there was maybe 10 of us. And I saw over against a wall, there were 2 people suddenly just went. So, yes, we knew that they knew that Freddie was sitting in there. It was fine, it was all good. We ordered the food arrived, and Freddie was just literally cutting up some food to put on a fork to put to his mouth. And one of them rushed over and put a piece of paper in front of his face saying, "Could you sign this, please?" The knife and fork went down quite loudly. And in that there might be children watching, he said, "Please go away," in 2 words. And Terry made sure that they went and sat down. We then carried on with the meal, and it was okay. The incident had happened, it was past. It was time to, carry on enjoying himself. At the end of the meal, they were still sitting over there looking crestfallen, just sort of, "Oh look, he was just over there, and we didn't say anything, we didn't." And he went, on his way out to the door, he went over to them, asked for the paper and pen, signed it, and said, "Look, there is a time and a place for everything." This photograph that you can see, in fact, you can see 2 fans, one each side of him. The blonde guy, I've actually also got a photograph of him next to John, standing next to John. He was just waiting in the lobby at the Munich Hilton. He was just waiting there for any of the band to come through, and he just quickly grabbed a photograph. But again, you can see Freddie, I mean, he's relaxed enough, he's just there. He was basically on his way to the studio. But they were there, they asked for a photograph, he gave it. Talking of Munich, didn't Freddie write one song in 10 minutes in a bath or something? Please.
So let's dance in this cold cup. I just can't round to it, this thing cold cup. I just can't round to it until I'm ready. Please leave the thing alone. This thing cold cup. It's cries in the clear all night, it swings. It's so low like a jellyfish, I kinda like it. It's a little thing. There goes my baby. She knows how to rock and roll. She drives me crazy. She's still gonna be like cuckoo swing. I've gotta be cool, relax, get on my tracks, take the backseat, hitchhike, take a long ride on my motorbike until I'm ready, raise a little thing going. Gotta be cool, relax, get on my tracks, to take a back seat, hitchhike, take a long ride on my motorbike, so we are ready. Crazy little thing, got this thing go now. I get round to it, it swings and it shines. So long like a jellyfish, I kinda like it. Raise a little thing on, raise a little thing on, raise a little thing on, raise a little thing on. Raise a little thing on, yeah, raise a little thing on. Raise a little thing, oh, raise a little thing, raise a little thing, oh, raise a little thing, oh.
Well, you've heard the music. You now know, of course, that the songs that you will hear this evening will be in a totally different arrangement to the originals. Milan decided from the very, very beginning that he didn't sound like Freddie, he didn't look like Freddie. So he felt that the best way to perform the songs was to give them a totally different, to look at them from a different angle. But you can hear the way they play that these guys just love the music. With this photograph, again, this is one that's been seen all over. Freddie did love enjoying himself. It was really important for him to be able to spend his downtime, the time off stage, with friends. I know in so many interviews he always says, "Oh, I'm always so alone. I'm lonely. There's nobody for me." I'll explain a little bit about that a little bit later on. But friends were so important. He actually had some very, very good friends. I met people that he had known from the John Reed days, and he still kept in touch, and they really were good friends. I was there when he was making friends with the guys from New York, and they took such good care of him when he was in New York. They made sure he had a good time. He didn't go to the tourist sites that, all the tourists go to, but they made sure that he was never bored. They took him to the beach. They took him to places that he wouldn't normally have been able to go. Every city he went to and spent any sort of time there, he made friends there. Munich was figured highly with, I don't know, if you look, Barbara Valentin, Winnie, and there's a whole group of people there, and particularly someone like Mac, who was there. He was there as a producer, co-producer, but he was also the nearest Freddie had to family in Munich. With friends, he could just let his hair down. He loved going on holiday, but it was always the same people who would go on holiday. He thought nothing of flying sort of 5 people into London, then going to the airport, getting on a private plane and going to Ibiza, so that he would have his holiday, but surrounded by people that he knew and loved. It made it that much easier for him. There's a photograph that comes to my mind of all of us sitting on some stairs, the stone steps coming down in Ibiza Old Town. It was fun times. It really was good times. But holidays were important. Look at what he did straight after the Magic Tour, when he took off with Jim for 2 weeks in Japan, because he knew that he could do a shopping trip, which he did. He spent an absolute fortune buying things to put into Garden Lodge. But he was at home. He had Misa Watanabe there. Again, a very, very good friend, right from well before my time with him. He was very, very good at staying in touch with people. I'm the world's worst, believe me. I promise. And then I feel really guilty because I haven't called someone. Then it goes too late and I think I can't call someone. It's stupid. It's a stupid way to feel. And this is, I tell you, for all of you. If you have friends, keep them. Because you never know when you're going to need them. But, yeah, I mean, you can see here he's sort of relaxed, I suppose, almost flat on his back on a limousine with his legs in the air. It sort of reminds me that it looks like he's breaking free.
to break free from your lies. You're so self-satisfied. I need you. I've got to break free. And let me say yeah, thus I want to break free. I've fallen in love. I've fallen in love for the first time. This time I know it's for real. I've fallen in love. Yeah, everyone together. Yeah, thus I've fallen in love. Oh yeah. It's strange, but it's true. I can get over the way you love me like you do, but I hate to be sure when I walk out that door. Oh, I want to be free, baby. Oh, I want to be free. Oh, how I want to be free. Hey! But life still goes on. I can get used to living without you by my side. I don't want to live alone. Oh, 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 hey. God knows. Come back in the old, yeah. So baby, can't you see? God knows I want to. God knows I want to. God knows I want to. So break free.
I love the way they do this music. I really hope you're enjoying it. It's very different, but as I said earlier on, you can tell that their hearts are in it. This photograph, Munich was actually, it figured quite a lot in my time, in that it lasted a few years, but it also, you know, with Barbara involved, it carried on through 89, 90. She still was friends with Freddie. Why I picked this picture is because we're going to listen, after I'm finished, to Freddie's actual favourite song of the things he did with Queen. And I think this photograph is quite apt because it includes two loves of his life in the one photograph. You see Freddie, Mary, then there's Polder is the waiter from Winnie's restaurant. You have Joe Burt, who was with Mary at that time, and then you have Winnie, who was with Freddie at that time. This is where I can explain just a little bit. I'll just do it very briefly, to maybe help you understand why Freddie always was saying that he felt he's alone. He's always alone. The reason being, his love life was, what words do I use? He was often disappointed. Freddie generally had a very, very good sense of people. He could decide within usually a few minutes if they were someone who could be a friend or if they were someone to be sort of kept at a little bit of a distance. And friendships, as I said before, they lasted so long with Freddie. Love, on the other hand, Freddie found it very, very, very difficult to find the right person for him. In my time with Freddie, I mean, those 12 years, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There were 6 big disappointments in his life. I don't understand, with him having such a perfect grasp of friendship, not being able to find the real, true love. I mean, Winnie, he was fine, he was great, but how, just please tell me, write to me and tell me how you can build a relationship between two people when they do not understand each other. Freddie spoke no German and Winnie spoke no English. So you had the interpreter, Barbara, in the middle all the time. How could that work? But believe me, he made a good try at it. Love, that was the hard part of Freddie's life. And the song he wrote about it, in fact, is so autobiographical, and he did absolutely he felt that he'd put just about everything he had into this song. So, please guys, somebody to love?
Let's go together. I forgot every tale of my life. I worked till I ached to my bones. At the end, I tell my heart and feel my own. I get down on my knees and I start to pray till tears run down from my eyes. Lord, somebody, can anybody find me somebody to love? I try and I try and I try, but everybody wants to put me down, but they say, so I'm going crazy. This I've got my brain, I've got no common sense, he's got nobody left to believe. I've got no feeling, I've got no rhythm, I just keep on losing my feet. I'm okay, I'm alright, I'm gonna face no real defeat. I'm just gonna get out of this prison cell. One day I'm gonna be free and love somebody to. I say love.
I think this has to be the most well-known photograph of Freddie and me. In fact, looking through all of my photographs, there are very, very few with me in them, because I was the one taking them. A lot of them I took for Freddie, some I just took for me. This sort of, I love this photograph because this is one photograph where, you know, that old saying, photograph is worth 1,000 words. There's very little I can really say. You can see us. You can see we're happy. It was great. This was in New York early on. We were in, I think, the Berkshire Place Hotel. And there was about 4 or 5 of us there. And someone said, look, there's never any photographs of you two together. Give me your camera. So I gave him my camera. He said, no, just do something. And Freddie just grabbed me, and I slipped and I fell, and that's how they got that photograph. I'm very, very surprised. I'm very happy, but thinking back, I can understand why. This was within a year or two of meeting him. I was working at the Royal Opera House, looking after stage costumes for the Royal Ballet in 1979. They were doing a huge charity gala. They did one every year, but they wanted someone different as the special guest. They had all the usual famous dancers coming in to dance and things, but they wanted someone different. And the idea of Freddie Mercury came up because he was at that point wearing ballet slippers on stage and doing all his, his poses. So they got hold of Freddie Mercury. He performed Crazy Little Thing Called Love. It was the first public performance of that song, and Bohemian Rhapsody. He wore 1, 2, 3 different costumes with those 2 songs, and it was incredible. In fact, it just was amazing. I met him at the party afterwards, and I just said to him, I thought that his voice, Queen music, the Royal Ballet, my dancers, it was just a match made in heaven. And I mean, he was incredibly sweet, very complimentary. And he said, but I came to the Opera House at one point and I saw you there. What do you do there? So I explained about looking after the costumes for the dancers, putting them on them, getting them on the stage, taking the costumes off and getting them cleaned. And that was the end of the conversation. He went off with his friends. I went off with mine. And a week, 10 days later, Paul Prenter, it was in fact, from the Queen office, called me. Well, didn't call me, he called my boss and asked if I would be available to do a 6-week tour with Queen. So obviously these few minutes talk worked. I found out fairly soon afterwards how similar his and my background was, in that both of us were at boarding schools in India when we were young. Not the same school, of course, and there's 9 years difference between us. But it made it very, very easy to understand each other, because it doesn't matter where the boarding school is, the basic philosophies are the same, and it teaches you this independence to live free from your families, to be able to communicate with friends. And we were able just to blend so well so quickly. And that to me shines through this photograph. Now I think it's the only time I can really do this, that the song that everybody knows, I think it's time for that one now.
It's too late, my time has come, sends shivers down my spine, body's aching all the time. Goodbye everybody, I've got to go, gotta leave you all behind, the face is true. Here we go.
Bravo!
Sorry about this photograph is not so clear, so brilliant, but I just felt it was worth seeing. It illustrates the importance of birthdays, basically, for Freddie. We would have 20 birthday parties a year because Freddie always celebrated his friend's birthday. He would arrange the party. It was always the same guests. The only thing that was ever different really was the venue, and even then it was sort of split around 5 different places, and the cake. This cake was done for Freddie. Again, all the cakes sort of reflected something about the person. And of course, this was one of his Hakata dolls, which he had 4 or 5 of them around the house. Because as you know, Freddie loved all things Japanese. So that was the one thing that was always a big secret. Because the person whose birthday it was never told what it was going to be. But that also worked for Freddie as well. It was the only time we were allowed to keep a secret from him. And he would get so upset, until he would see the cake, and then, he would understand. There's so many that you've seen. There's, of course, the one that you've seen with Freddie with the knife. I think it was at Legends, with the red car. There's a picture of me holding one that's sort of like a mountain slope with the ski lift and everything. But that was for Joe Finelli, because he was going on holiday and he was going on a skiing holiday. So Freddie wanted his holiday represented in cake. There's the one that you have seen of Garden Lodge. We actually recreated Garden Lodge as a cake for him. And I think the last birthday, the 1991 birthday cake, was by far the very, very biggest. And that was the apartment block of his apartment in Montreux. And I mean, Freddie did not like fruitcake. So his cakes were actually very, very hard for the people who made them to make them, because they had to be sponge. And you cannot have a cake that's this big and sponge. You cannot make it very, very easily. I mean, literally, there were boards going through it to support the weight of everything. So the birthdays, it was the cakes. Parties, the food would be the same if it was for a party for 20 or a party for 200. And this is where Joe Finelli came into his element. Joe cooked. I mean, he cooked amazingly. He cooked in restaurants for so many of the years between when the relationship with Freddie finished in 1978, 79, and then he started working in 85. And in those years, he was the chef in so many restaurants in Chelsea, Fulham, I mean, really good places. We would always create the same food. Everybody knew it, but everybody loved it. That's why we created the same food. We knew they would like it. So Freddie loved giving parties, and he was not one of these people who would invite 200 people and then hide in his bedroom. It was his house. He was so proud of it. he would make sure that everybody saw everything, could touch everything, could appreciate everything. The house, this is something I found about Garden Lodge. The house needed people in it to make it feel such an amazing, warm home.
So here is the last one. Sometimes I get this feeling I was back in the old days long ago, when we were kids, when we were young. Things seem so perfect, you know. Days were else crazy when we were young. Sun was always shining, we just lived for fun. Sometimes it seems like lately, I just don't know. The rest of my life's been just a show. These were the days of my life. The bad things in life were so few. Those days are all gone now, but something is true. When I'm in my nights, I still love you. You came to make the club, you came to make the tides. Ain't that the shame? On the roller coaster ride, well, I was just a kid. We used to say I'm thinking what to do. It's amazing. Oh wow. The rest of my life's been just a show. 'Cause these are the days of my life. Floating the sweetness of time. Those days are all gone now. Something's when I in our nights, I still love you. When I'm in our fights, I still love you. I still love you.
Bravo, bravo.
This photograph, of course, it's sad. Because the thing is, if you talk about Freddie's life, you have to talk about the end of it. because it's a fact. As much as we might wish it was different, however much we want to change what has happened, we cannot. For me, those last years, from 87, when Freddie told me in the kitchen, I can still see it in my head. I was standing near the cooker, behind sort of the mobile chopping board, and Freddie was sitting down by the small kitchen table. And he said, "Look, you know I'm sick." I said, "Well, yeah, no, yes." He says, "You know what it is, don't you?" I said, "No. I have an idea, but I do not know. I have AIDS. This is the last time we will talk about it, because I have a life to live." My heart froze when he said that, because it meant in those days that it was a death sentence. Nobody knew if he would have 6 weeks, 6 months, or 6 years. Nobody, doctors, people, nobody knew. But he meant to control this disease for as long as he could. He wanted no sympathy. He didn't want people to sort of, "Oh, Freddie, you must be tired. Here, have a chair." He wanted nobody to know. So, from my side, nobody did. One person I had to tell, and that was literally just a few days before he died. And then I was able, it was I think on the Monday evening after he died, I was able to actually talk to a wonderful friend of mine, and I was just able to talk and talk and talk for the first time in 4.5 years, just to get everything out. The thing is, I have never seen anybody with as much courage as Freddie had. He got up every day making sure he was going to spend that day as well as he could. He every day he just wanted to work. He wanted to get more music done. He needed to just be there doing things. It was well, 1989 we were told that probably Freddie wouldn't see Christmas. But he was not going to let the disease take him then. He already knew he had more to do. And he actually kept going for another 2 years. He told actually very few people. Many people can say they knew, but really only the people that Freddie told could really say they knew. The rest could suspect, the rest could think, "Oh well, yes, no, of course that's it, that's what he's got." But unless he told you, you wouldn't know. It was not public knowledge. He didn't want people to know because he was basically protecting his family. He didn't want to go on holiday for 2 weeks, and so he wasn't seen anywhere. And then people would ring up his parents and say, "Is he dead yet? We haven't seen him." So that's why he didn't tell anybody. He felt it was not to involve so many people in what he felt was his problem. This photograph, I mean, it's about one of the last I took of him. He was still the Freddie that I knew. I never saw a dying man until the last few days of his life. Because when you're with someone every day, you don't see any sort of deterioration. You don't see someone getting thinner, getting iller, paler. He was always the Freddie that I knew for so many years. He, looking back in this now, I'm involved through Milan. Was his idea, totally, to create the TFA project, which is Titanic Freddie AIDS, which is aimed at school children from 13 years upwards, just to make them aware. So even now, 30 years on, Freddie is still helping to keep people alive. He, in the end, let the disease take him because he was the one who stopped the medication. He was the one who finally decided it is time. But he is still 30 years on. We go to schools, and even though these children weren't born when Freddie was alive, I mean many years after they were born, they all know about Freddie Mercury. So he is still affecting people. He is still involved in people's lives right up to this day. I try not to be sad whenever any anniversaries come up, with birthdays, the anniversary of his death. Don't be sad. You should, all of us, just celebrate the fact that we had the experience and we still have the music of this amazing man. These last 2 years gave me a chance to do something that two people came to me with the idea a few years ago. Now I think 4 or 5 years ago. And they suggested that I write my autobiography, which is sort of strange because it makes me really feel old when you're writing about your life from the time I was born right through to 2020, in fact. So I have written about this. This is where I discovered the photographs that you've seen this evening that nobody has seen before. They will be, when the book comes out, they will be in the book. It should hopefully be released by the end of this year, 2021. That's the plan. There will be a special edition, and then there will be editions in various different languages. Keep an eye out on my YouTube channel, and also I now have a website. See, even though I'm a pensioner, I'm becoming up to date. There will be information on things all the time. I will try and keep up YouTube. Maybe once a month, it might be, but I will always try and give you something new. There's a page, there's a section on there where you can ask questions. I'll see if I can try and answer some of the questions on video for you. But I really hope that you have learnt something today, that you've enjoyed it. The music has been amazing. I hope I haven't bored you too much, and I really look forward to the time when actually we can see each other again. It will happen, I know it will. Bye.
It's so slashed and torn.
I'm very much better than I was. It just suddenly hit. I was not good, but I'm getting back there.
Fantastico. Super. Okay, thank you so much. So the last greetings from Milan?
And from Tomas.
And from Tomas. Oh, Tomas, where are you?
Tomas.
Hi, Peter.
Come in front. Come in front.
Are you controlling him? You don't let Milan go too crazy.
Oh, little.
Nadia, vuoi stare un saluto anche tu?
Thank you.
No?
I really wish I was from but make sure, please, you have the most amazing afternoon. Just enjoy yourself.
Thank you.
Do you like David Bowie?
Yeah.
Really?
Under
Okay.
pressure.
Under pressure. We might do that too. We've never played it, to be honest, but not actually even this variation. But we try Heroes, maybe.
See.
Let's try this. If we get good glass of wine, we will play a good song. We've never played it. We just tried it a few hours ago. So let's get a beat. Okay, it needs a drummer, so we need you. That sounds good. But more louds. So are we ready? Perfetto.
Yeah.
you could be me, and I will drink all the time, 'cause we're lovers, and that is all. Yes, we're lovers, and that is a fact. That nothing will keep us together. We can be them forever and ever, and we can be heroes just for one day. What you say? I wish I could swim like the dolphins, like the dolphin can swim. That nothing will keep us together. We can be them forever and ever. We can be heroes just for one day. What you say? And I would be king, and you would be my queen. Nothing would drive them away. We can be them forever and ever. So we can be heroes just for one day. What you say? I could drink wine all the day in Tissano with a group of wonderful people, and I would like to get kissed all the time. And the guns should chop off our heads, and the shame was on the other side. Oh, we can be there forever and ever, and we can be heroes just for one day. gentlemen, Michal Winter. Thank you so much. Thank you, Federica, for organizing this beautiful time. And actually, we can say one thing. Peter Freestone released a numbered edition of his book, Right Time, Right Place, which is hand-signed, hand-numbered from both of us. There is also our album, digital album, where Peter wrote lyrics about Freddie, how he felt in different situations, and we did our own album in the book. So you can scan QR code. So if you want, we bring actually 40 pieces here to Italy with Peter promised a discount. So who wants a book? This limited special edition, just 1,946 pieces. So who wants to buy a book? Here is the one for 40 euros. That's it. Thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of the afternoon, and let's have some wine and enjoy the time. Thank you so much.
Serve la